What's up? It's your boy Simon. And today we're talking about why don't anybody has opinions anymore? All right, does that make sense? Opinions. Why doesn't anybody can form an opinion? All right, quick story time. Shout out to my two friends, but we were leaving the bar and we were already, a little bit tipsy and stuff like that, but we were about to leave. Sorry, let me put these sunglasses on because it's so freaking, the shade's crazy. Like my sun's killing me. Okay, so we were leaving the bar and we were all talking. And as we were talking, it's like, we were talking about things that don't matter, I would say. Not, obviously like bullshit. When I wanted to hit a serious topic, that's when everybody got quiet and like nobody could really form an opinion and everybody was trying to dance around the question. And I was like, bro, this kind of is crazy how like even with your like true friends, like some people are afraid to discuss their real opinions because I feel like they don't even have an opinion on it anymore. Like whenever you ask someone their opinion on the Israel-Palestine conflict, they're like, I don't know, it's not my problem. Which, I also feel granted to some degree because it's just like, if you're not living there, it's hard to really put yourself in those people's shoes. But at the same time, we shouldn't be so, what's the word, like, I don't know, like dumbfounded or like just so incapable of coming up with a question or something, sorry, not a question, but like an answer to the question, whether it's like right or wrong. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me how some people can't even form. I feel like, do we even care or we're just not even trying? You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, if we really can't even form opinions on questions that like, on like very important shit, then it's just like, what's it like in your day-to-day life? Are we really, is there like the theory of NPCs, is that really among us? Is like like if you really can't form an opinion on not even like the most complex things, but stuff like, abortion or like death penalty, stuff like that. It's like, if you can't even have an opinion on that, then Jesus Christ, I really do hope the best for you, because it's just like, you can't roam around life not forming opinions. That's how you stand your ground. That's how you know who you are. Not everybody's supposed to agree with everybody, you know what I'm saying? I think people are really afraid to be wrong. I think that's really what it is. I think people always want to strive to be on the right side, which is, of course, I mean, there's nothing wrong always wanting to be right, but like, that's also not a human, Humans are, honestly, I would say one of the things we're known for is making mistakes. And if you're trying to always avoid making mistakes, then you're avoid living life. You know what I'm saying? If you're always trying to avoid the mistakes, you're gonna avoid living life, because life is full of mistakes. Every story, every superhero, every protagonist has made mistakes. Luke Skywalker, freaking Indiana Jones, the list goes on and on, all right? I didn't mean to name white people because I'm racist, hold on. My notes just almost flew away. Yeah, all your favorite protagonists has made mistakes, and that's what made them such great protagonists. That's what made them such great people, is their mistakes. And people would never want to trade, well, not everybody, some people don't want to trade mistakes, but you get what I'm trying to say, is that a lot of people would never trade their downfalls or, their losses, because that's what made them who they are. I think another problem with this, with people not forming opinions, is the big media. Do people really still watch the news segments? I feel like you're either watching it on YouTube or you're watching like half the clip. You're not watching the whole thing, right? Because that's what my dad does. Anyway, I think people are trusting too much, they're putting too much faith into big media corporations and for their news. I don't think there's enough independent research. I think that's another big reason why people can't form opinions, is because once we see what the major headlines or the major corporations put out, we have instant bias to believe what they're saying is credible, even if they do have an agenda or they want to push a narrative. Well, some people will just completely disregard that. You always have to look at all big media companies with the point of view that they're doing it for a reason, right? There's probably some type of conflict of interest. I'm not saying every reporter is compromised, but just to say that even if they don't even fully know it, their story is only being pushed to the top because their bosses want that story out there, so you could read it and so you could form a hateful opinion most likely about the situation. If you're still trusting all these big media corporations, it's like you're cooked, bro. I don't know what to say. It's not to say that, like, you know, they don't put out the truth, but they'll put out fragments of the truth. Like, you know, let's say that they put out an article. Some people will take everything they say as the whole truth, nothing but the truth. But I would honestly take like 5% or like 10 to maybe 15% of it as the truth, depending on the situation. So it's just like, yeah, you always have to look at it with the perspective of like, they're pushing it. There's a narrative. What am I like? What's the big picture? What's macro? Okay, don't think micro. What's macro? Why would they put this out on pretty much any topic? You know, almost all of it's compromised. The big corporations, at least. You know, I would say that we have to focus more on independent research. You know, that's where we'll actually have more logical, sound opinions, is when we actually look at more than one article or one media corporation. Hopefully something more local. You know, try to go that route if you can, if it's possible. And multiple sources. You can never just take one source. It's always have to be, you know, but if all the sources are saying the same thing, maybe it's true. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of hard until you could really see between the lines. So always try to do your own research. Never try to depend on one news outlet to tell you what is the truth and what is not, you know? Because if you do, then you're always gonna be having like basically a non-opinion, because you're regurgitating what they want you to say, you know? It's not really your opinion, it's what, you know, you've been told, you know? And it's like, some things you can be told is the truth, and you know it is the truth because you witnessed it or you've seen someone who's witnessed it. But when it comes to things that, like, you know, you have no knowledge of or have no way of getting close to that type of situation, you can't just take it at face value what these corporations tell you. Yeah, I feel like another reason why people don't form opinions is because we also, you know, maybe it's my generation, but like, you know, we get triggered so easily. It's like a lot of people are afraid to say what they actually want to mean. And I get it, you know, we live in a cancer culture society. People who have the difference of opinion, if you're, like, if I'm being completely honest, if you're freaking MAGA, you know, 90% of, well, at least that's from where I'm from. You know, I'm in Michigan, or at least Lansing, Michigan, but like, you know, 90% of people are gonna freaking hate you. And not saying I'm MAGA at all. Frick no, fuck no, all right? I am not MAGA at all, but I'm just saying that if you have difference of opinions, or if you have just a different opinion outright, people get triggered so easily that it's just like, you're gonna burn bridges. I feel like a lot of people are gonna cut you off because of your difference of opinion. And it's honestly crazy, because I feel like cutting off people just because they don't see the same thing as you is different. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me, because they could be a completely good person, but because they disagree on these two or three things, whatever, because, you know, there's a couple of things that you guys don't agree on, that all of a sudden that's just worth cutting off the friendship. But it's like, wait, hold up a second. If you guys have like the same core values, you like the same things, but you have a different beliefs in religion or political or you know, how to raise children, whatever, I feel like that doesn't determine you should cut them off completely. You're a fake friend in my eyes. If all your friends have to agree on every single thing you do, then it's just like, that's how we get cheap, bro, you know? I feel like some of my best friends, I don't agree on everything, and they understand that. I want to have difference of opinions, because I never want to just think my opinion's the right way and the only way. You know what I'm saying? And there's probably a lot of people who probably think that too, but it's just like, when we have too much sheep, then we don't have any opinions, because everybody's just going to be like, this is what it is, you know? And we're heading down that path a lot of ways. We're trusting big outlets. We're afraid to say what we actually want to think, because we just want to keep peace, or we want to not piss anybody off. You don't want to piss off our crush or coworkers. Like, I get it, but at the same time, you can't. I'm not saying like you can say everything. Like, obviously, if you're like a freaking Nazi, you know, you don't want to freaking like be like, yeah, that's the right way of life, hell, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everybody just keep it in the realms of like, of where the climate is, you know? Don't be pushing rhetoric, of course not, that's what I'm saying. Like, just because you have your own opinion doesn't mean you need to force your opinion on anybody else. That's not what I'm saying. Like, we all have our own core values, but on the surface level, I don't know, is politics and religion, is that surface level? Probably not, but regardless of that, you can still have an opinion on a lot of things that doesn't revolve politics, religion, war, just anything, you know what I'm saying? So don't be freaking shallow. Don't be like, oh, blah, 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 you know, the generic opinion. In today's world where we're living in a headline generation, you know what I'm saying? And what that means is Headline generation is that we just read the headline and that's pretty much it. We don't freaking care, you know, about reading the details in the actual article itself. And I'm talking about myself mainly, but and I'm kidding. Deadass, so people just like regurgitate the headline. They don't even know what actually happened. They'll just read the headline and then move on with their life. You know, it's like, it's hard to hold people's attention span. So it's just like, that's why a lot of the stuff you read isn't even accurate, because it's just like, they got you with the headline, but then when it actually came to the actual story, it was like a lot of fucking details that you missed. And like, you're like, wait, this is complete BS. It's just a headline generation. And it's not even that good of an example, but just like, we live in a headline generation. Like, just try to dig deeper, look for the macro picture. Like I was saying earlier, like what are they pushing? Why do they want to tell us this? Because it's just like some of the headlines are just so stupid. We actually need to dig deeper, find out what actually is happening, and then you can form your own opinion once you actually know what's going on, you know? And then we'll have less sheep, and then hopefully we'll be a more happier society once we have less sheep and we can destroy all the NPCs. And then I could be a millionaire, and then you can be a millionaire, and then everybody who likes this video will be a millionaire, and everybody who subscribed will be a millionaire. So if you don't want to be a millionaire, don't subscribe, don't like this video, and keep on doom scrolling. All right, until next time, peace.